Hey there, and welcome to another Health Essentials podcast. I'm John Horton, your host. If you want to take your cardio workouts up a notch, the key may be to just go up. That's because exercises that involve some form of climbing can quickly send your heart rate soaring while absolutely taxing muscles and torching calories. So today, we're going to talk about how to get the most out of two gravity-fighting workout machines, stair steppers and vertical climbers. Our guide on this uphill journey will be exercise physiologist Katie Lawton, our regular guest on the podcast who always finds a way to make us sweat. She's one of the many experts at Cleveland Clinic who join us weekly to chat about living healthier. Now let's see what she has to say about taking our fitness routines to new heights. Welcome back to the podcast, Katie. Glad you are here because I am ready for a new workout adventure.
Well, I'm ready to talk all about it.
As anyone who has climbed a few flights of stairs or trekked uphill knows, hauling yourself to a higher plane just ain't easy. I'm always amazed at how quickly you get out of breath on even the slightest of inclines.
Yeah, so our body actually has to use more oxygen to actually get to all those muscles, and that's why our heart rate has to beat a little bit faster.
Is it just gravity? I mean, I can't believe it's doing that much, but
Yeah, and actually we're using the same muscles that we use when we're walking. It's just now that we have to use them much harder, or it's just much more difficult, and we have to go against gravity to go up into those higher heights. And so our body actually needs more oxygen to get to those muscles, so that's why our heart rate actually starts increasing as we're also using those stairs.
Yeah, that gravity thing is just a killer. You realize that whenever you have to haul up, to the third floor for something.
Absolutely.
So as you're going uphill, and whether on anything, we're talking stair steppers, vertical climbers, whatever, your body's just working harder to do that. Does that always translate into a bigger calorie burn?
Absolutely. Our muscles actually use that energy from the oxygen to break down energy to be able to be used. So that actually in turn will use more calories as we are using those stairs. Absolutely.
Do we have anything like how many more calories do you burn walking up a flight of stairs versus just, walking in a straight level line?
Yeah. So I don't know if I have that answer exactly. There is a calculator that we can, do to find that out. And the intensity as to which we're also climbing up the stairs versus intensity as to which we're also walking will make a difference. Obviously, for sprinting upstairs versus in a flat pace, I think those are also probably not comparable either, actually. But we kind of use METs as a metabolic equivalent to try and figure out as to what intensity or how many calories we can kind of figure out we're actually burning during those modes.
It always seems like when I'm going upstairs, I'm hauling something. So
you are. You're
I've
hauling
enough kids into dorms to know
but you
that.
are. I mean, you have to think about hauling your own body weight. So we have to think about, all that weight we're actually physically, moving up as part of, that movement.
Since it seems like just by going up and kind of climbing, you're working harder just on that, just to do it. It's easy to see why that can be incorporated into workout routines. So today we're going to look at a pair of these kind of climbing focused exercise equipment options that you often see at gyms and fitness centers. Let's start with kind of stair climbers or stair steppers. For those who aren't familiar with these machines, kind of walk us through what they are.
So the Stairmasters look like a set of stairs, and it's kind of like a revolving set of stairs that you are continuously climbing. And then the stair climber is one, it kind of looks like elliptical steps that you're going to kind of shift your weight back and forth on. And either one of those it is a different way to increase intensity for cardiovascular exercise rather than just walking itself, like we had talked about, or rather than, if, walking on an incline on a treadmill, going up is another option as well.
So the stair climbers are like those steps. It's like an escalator that's not carrying you anywhere. You just have to keep trodden along.
Correct.
Whereas the other one is kind of more, it sounds like kind of more like an elliptical machine where you're just kind of.
Yeah, but you're not going in elliptical type movement. It's kind of more of like an up and down type of movement. But yeah.
And I take it if you just walk up and down stairs, you get the same sort of workout too. If you want to tackle your
that is
apartment
another
building.
option as well. Yeah, using your stairs at home, using stadium steps, boxes. If I don't know if you've seen gyms have like big elephant stands, or I sometimes will use like a weight bench to step up on and step down. That's also a really good way to get that type of intensity in there as well.
Well, we're looking at the machines, and with any of these kind of the stair workouts, what are the health and fitness benefits of just going, up, 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 up?
So cardiovascular benefits, the benefits to anything where we're increasing our heart rate has a lot of benefits for anything, obviously cardiovascular wise, and any type of heart disease reduction as well. Cholesterol, blood pressure are also in there as well. Osteopenia, osteoporosis, mental health, right, is also a really good reason to do cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular exercise.
Are stairs lower impact too? Because you always kind of hear that if you're going to be doing that. Maybe it's not totally low, but it's lower than some of the higher intensity activities you might have.
It's definitely lower impact than running, I would say. I think also depending on the step height that you're also using and how big of or how fast you're trying to go, I think is always the bigger piece to that as well. Probably not for everybody as well. Maybe if you have hip arthritis or knee arthritis, I don't know if it's something that's going to be tolerable. I think it's worth trying because sometimes just walking on a flat plane may not be challenging enough for them. So we may have to find, something that's going to increase their heart rate just a little bit further. And yeah, I do think trying a stair climber or a Stairmaster would be a good option.
Yeah. What about strength gains? I mean, what kind of muscles are you working going upstairs or on one of these climbing things like that, as opposed to just walking on a level plane?
Yeah. So your glutes, which are kind of like your butt muscles, are going to be should be the primary movers. The quadriceps, so they're the ones on the front of your thighs. Your calves are another really big one, and your core to help you keep you upright as well.
Okay. And I'd imagine that doing this, like all those muscles sound like they're things that can really help with like balance and things that become issues as you get a little older.
Yeah. Now the other factor is when people are maybe using the stair climber, they're probably holding on. So that if you wanted to challenge your balance a little bit more when you're using those machines, you maybe want to try and not hold on when you're doing those activities too. But yeah, I mean, again, if you're not holding on, then yeah, there could be some balance impact with that as well.
Now you had mentioned that because you're working harder, I take it you don't need as much time for a stair workout as opposed to if you're just walking on a treadmill.
I kind of have to be careful, right? Because I think everyone's the intensity is also going to be, again, the main factor. I don't want people to think that just because they're getting on a stair climber at a really slow pace, that means they have to do less. Okay. I think we have to kind of do a self-evaluation to say, okay, I think that was, moderate intensity versus a heavy intensity workout. And that's how we can kind of indicate how long we should essentially be going for on those. Because I think I have to be careful in saying, yeah, you don't have to do as much if you're doing a stair climber, but at the same time, the intensity piece is going to be really important to also take into consideration.
It sounds like it's one of those things at the same intensity, walking versus stair climbing. The stair climbing is going to be a little more juice to it. A
little more juice, but it's still, it again, depending on how fast you're moving on the stairs, it still might be a moderate intensity, but just a little bit moderate heavy. If we're going to be trying to, if we're sprinting up the stairs, then, we're talking kind of more of that heavier intensity, which would really require a lot less as well.
So Katie, I saw that there is one particular stair workout, the 25-7-2 Stairmaster plan, that gets a lot of attention on social media. What is that program, and is it something that people should try?
Yeah, I believe it's 27 minutes at a level 7, 2 days a week.
25 minutes,
20,
level
okay, sorry.
7 twice a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as we're consistent with it, I'm happy about it, right? I think that consistency piece is really where we're going to notice a lot more benefits for our health if we're not consistent with it, and if you're going to try it once, once a week here, once a week there, you probably won't see the benefits of it. But if it's keeping you continuously doing the exercise, great.
It sounds like it's one of those things where if it inspires you and you kind of, I don't know, you feel attached to it, or it makes you get on a couple times a week.
Or just changes things up so we don't get bored, I think is another piece too that can really help people continuously trying to do cardio.
Are there other like kind of just stair routines that you recommend to people? Or is it just, sometimes you get on those machines and they have all those pre-programmed things you can do where, you're going to tackle, the Empire State Building or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm, any one of those pre-programmed ones, I actually kind of like myself because it makes the time go by just a little bit faster because you're constantly going through some of the intervals and you can kind of see the light is coming, the light is at the end of the tunnel sometimes where we're doing those types of things. And there's usually mixed in with heavy intensities, mixed in with some, moderate intensities, or I'm sorry, high intensities mixed in with some moderate intensities that, again, will kind of give us some downtime and then kind of ramp things back up on us a little bit as well.
How much do you recommend that people kind of adjust that as they're doing a stair workout? I mean, you can kind of, increase the speed or I don't know if there's a resistance setting on those that you can do, but is that something you should kind of toy with as you're doing it?
I'm always big on making sure that we're changing things up with our exercise. So yeah, if we're getting a little comfortable with it and if it just feels like we're just kind of moving and we're not really challenging ourselves, I always recommend, kind of as long as it's, health wise is safe for us, that we can, try and, play around with some of the intensities a little bit.
Now let's shift over to vertical climbers, which definitely look a bit more intimidating if you've ever seen them at a gym. What are these contraptions?
So they kind of almost look like you're, I almost want to say you're climbing up a wall almost, more or less. But I kind of almost think of them as those like Nordic track things that they used to have way back in like the 70s and 80s. I remember seeing in everyone's basements a little bit, but more in a vertical type position where our hands and our legs are kind of moving at the same time.
Sounds like you're kind of Spider-Man. It looks like you're kind of going up the wall like that, right?
Exactly. Yep. And I think your knees and your hands are going up at the same time on each side. So you're kind of climbing up. And you can kind of vary the intensities with those as well.
Well, and it sounds like with these, you're using your arms, whereas with the stairs, the stair steppers or the stair climbers, it's more of a leg workout. With these, your arms are kind of in there too, because that's part of the whole operation, right?
Right. So now we're going to be using a lot more energy because we're also going to be using our arms to do the same amount of work.
So the vertical climbers, it sounds like, is much more of a whole body workout.
Yes, absolutely. A lot more intense as well.
So like when you compare, a vertical climbing sort of workout to a stair stepper, how are they similar and how are they different?
Well, we're still using our legs kind of in that same motion when we're bringing our knees up and kind of pushing down. But now with the Versa Climber, we're using our arms as we're also doing it as well. Whereas the Stair Climber, we're not actually using our arms as much. We're primarily just using our legs. So it's still going to have a cardiovascular impact on it. Either way, we kind of look at these.
So it sounds like with the vertical climber, you're going to have a higher calorie burn. It's just a much more intense workout because you have so many more muscles engaged that you're using.
Yeah, more than likely, you're probably not going to be on the Versa Climber for nearly as long as you're going to be on a stair climber.
Now, if someone is looking to start using a vertical climber or a stair stepper, what's the first step aside from stepping up?
Well, of course, if you've been exercising before, I think, it's not new to us as far as the exercise goes. It should be safe for us to, do those types of things. Now, if we're new to exercise and haven't really done anything, we again want to making sure that it's safe for us to do the exercise. If we're looking to change things up as far as our exercise goes, and really wanting to, if we're just walking and want to try and increase the intensity a little bit, there's really not much to change as far as using a stair climber. You just have to have access to one. So if you have a gym or something on those lines, and you just want to kind of try one out, I always recommend just trying them out.
Well, and it sounds like if you're kind of new to exercise and you want to start with a stair climber, you just, maybe you keep it a little slower paced and kind of build up a little bit.
They do move pretty quick. So you have to be careful as to how quickly, you start kind of ramping up and pressing some buttons on there. Cause they can they can pedal pretty quickly, and they'll change really quick on you. So yeah, you want to making sure that you're starting a little bit lighter and kind of increasing the intensity or the speed slowly.
Yeah, pressing buttons on those machines can get you into one of those viral videos pretty quickly if you're not paying attention. If you are new to exercise, it sounds like a vertical climber might not be the starting point that you really should be looking at.
No, I think that might actually, I'd be afraid that it would scare you away from doing the exercise versus doing the exercise. New to exercise, I would probably actually, maybe just start with some walking or treadmill incline or something along those lines. Unless you really feel inclined in trying to do, the stair climber, which is fine as well. But yeah, either way, if whatever gets, somebody started into exercise, if they're really motivated to try it because they think they might really like it, then by all means.
As beneficial as both of these sound like they are there some people who should avoid those types of workouts?
I think orthopedically is going to be a big factor, especially kind of more when we're talking about the stair climber with hip and knee type orthopedic issues. I'm not too sure, especially with the Versa climber, because our arms are involved, shoulder pain, orthopedic issues too, because we're raising our arms up over our head. But I think you can kind of limit as to which range you're also moving your arms when you're on those, and you don't have to go through a full range when you're also using the Versa climber. So, any type of, heart disease by any means, or any concern for potential any heart disease is obviously going to be another factor that we probably want to limit some, at least maybe even the intensity as to what we're doing some of these activities.
Yeah, and this kind of gets back to, I think, what you had alluded to before, where if you have an existing health issue, whether it's an injury, you said a hip replacement or knee replacement or shoulder issues, you're probably already working with somebody or have a doc. You should probably talk to them and ask about the wisdom of starting that sort of program.
Correct.
And how you can do it safely.
Correct.
Now, how often can you do a stair or vertical climbing workout? Is this a daily thing if you want to, or is it something, best done, a few times a week and kind of make sure you have that recovery time built in?
Again, it always just comes back to that intensity as to what we're doing the exercise. So if it's if it's high intensity every time you do it, we probably want to making sure that we are giving our day of rest in between. If it's at, light to moderate intensity, you can do it on a daily basis if you wanted to. And also duration. I think if you're doing it at a high intensity for a little bit longer, you're absolutely going to, want to making sure that we're getting a day of recovery in between.
Well, as usual, Katie, you've given us a game plan to level up our fitness. So before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else you'd like to add when it comes to trying out a stair stepper or vertical climber or I guess any other new contraption?
No, just, I think, again, as we talked about before, just making sure that you're getting clearance, from your doctor, whether it's orthopedic or, from a cardiologist or your primary care physician before starting exercise if you're not. But don't be afraid to try these things. I do think that it's always worth trying them to see if we're actually going to like them first. Because unless you try them, we really don't know. So like you said, the Versa climber seems a little bit more intimidating. You really don't know until you've tried it to see if you're really going to enjoy using it as a piece of equipment as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be running up the stairs right after this to at least go get another cup of coffee for the day. But I'll consider that the start of my my stair workout. Katie, as always, it's wonderful talking with you, and I always appreciate just the inspirational ideas you throw out there. And like I said, I just always want to get out there and get moving after we get done talking.
All right. Well, let me know how those stairs go.
Take care, Katie.
Bye.
If your exercise routine is feeling a little flat, consider giving stair steppers or vertical climbers a try. Either machine can get your fitness level trending in an upward direction. If you liked what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Till next time, be well.